ورتل القرآن ترتيلا.
Assalamu alaikum. In this lesson, we will be covering Ahkaam al-Mutafariqah, exceptional rulings in the Quran. Our learning objectives are to understand what Ahkaam al-Mutafariqah is, to identify the different exceptional rulings in the Quran, to understand how to apply each of the exceptional rule. So what is Ahkaam al-Mutafariqah? It is the exceptional rulings in the Quran of certain words. Let's look at example number 1. In Surah Al-Hujurat, ayah number 11, we are going to be looking at this word here which says bi'salismu. So there are two ways of reciting this. If we stop at the word bi'sa for any reason, then we would continue with the next word with a hamza and say alismu. So you would say bi's alismu. However, if we were to continue with reciting the words together, then we would say bi'salismu. The next example is from Surah Al-Fussilat ayah 44, and we will be looking at the word here where it says a'jamiyun. As you can see, there is a hamza on the first word, first letter, and on the second it has this round circle dot. Now the origin of this word contains two voweled hamzas. The first one is a questioning hamza and the second hamza is part of a word. So therefore we will recite this word with ease on the second hamza. So this rule is called at-tasheel. Tasheel is to recite a hamza between an alif and a hamza without any lengthening. So this word would be read as a'jamiyun. This particular rule of at-tasheel applies elsewhere. We have three other places in the Quran. In Surah Al-An'am, we have the word here al-dhakarain. We have the word in Surah Yunus and Surah Al-An'am, Allahu. In Surah Yunus, we have it twice, the word Al-Ana. So here, we have a Hamzatul Qati, which indicates there is a question before Hamzatul Wasl in the word that has the definite article. In this instance, there are two ways of pronouncing these words. First, the mad lazim, the way I recited, or with a tasheel al-hamza, which is pronouncing the hamzatul wasl in between a clear hamza and an alif without any lengthening. So I will show how to do both from the previous slide. So for the first one, you can say قُلْ آذَّكَرَيْنِ or قُلْ آذَّكَرَيْنِ. The second one, you can say Qul Allahu, again with 6, or Qul Allahu, just for 2 counts. And in Surah Yunus, we can say Al-Ana, which is the 6 counts, or Al-Na. Another example is from Surah Yusuf. We're going to be looking at this word here where it says La ta'manna. Now here we have two options of reciting this particular letter. If you can see, after the letter mim, there is like a small diamond shape. So we can recite it with the ruling of ishmam. Ishmam means to circle the lips in the form of a dhamma without making a dhamma sound. So it would be la ta'manna. So a person who can visually see you will be able to hear this sound as well. Another way is Rom. Now Rom is the weakening of the sound of this vowel of Dhamma, but only 1/3 can be heard of the sound. And this can only really happen if there is a listener very close by. So in the terms of Rom, it would be read as La ta'manna. So here there is a Dhamma sound, but it's very, very slight. So rather than saying La ta'manunna, the two ways are Ishmam, which is La ta'manna, which is circling the lips, Or the second way is Rom, where only 1/3 of the sound of the Dhamma can be heard. لا تأمن. Another example is on the Surah Al-Hud, ayah 41, where we'll be looking at this word majareha. This is a rule of imala. Again, as you can see, under the ra, we have a small, sometimes it's a diamond shape, sometimes it's a small dot. But this indicates that the alif or the fatha must be pronounced with a slant towards a kasra. So how do we read this? Majareha. Another example is when the letter sin is placed over the letter sod, the reader will pronounce the letter sod as sin. So as you can see from these two examples, the small sin is put on top of the letter sod. So you would read this as wayabasutu and bastotan. However, when the letter sin is placed under the letter sod, then the reader has an option, either pronouncing the letter as a sod or a sin. So here you can say as al-musaytirun or al-musaytirun. Another example that we can have a look at is in to do with the huruf al-muqatta'at, where the letter ain in mad lazim harafi can be lengthened either for 6 or 4 counts. So we can read this ain for 4 counts or 6 counts in Surah Al-Shura and in Surah Al-Maryam. Another example we can look at is in Surah Al-Rum, ayah 54. In this particular surah, we are going to be looking at this word here, which is da'fan. Now, this word can either be recited with a fatha or a dhamma, even though the word recited with a fatha is more preferable. One thing you have to understand is it is not permissible to pronounce one with a fatha and the other with a dhamma. All must be pronounced with the same haraka. And there are 3 places in this ayah. So we have خَلَقَكُم مِّن ضَعْفٍ مِّن بَعْدِ ضَعْفٍ and ضَعْفًا. So we have an option of dhamma or fatha. So what have we learned in this lesson? We have understood what is Ahkaam al-Mutafariqah. We can identify the different exceptional rulings in the Quran. We can understand how to apply each of these exceptional rules. Hope you have benefited from this lesson. Keep seeking knowledge. Ma'as salama.